Hey, it's Ash and Gonzo, and this is genuine.
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. How have you been?
I'm doing good. It's Easter weekend, so a lot of really cool things happening around the household.
Yes, it's fun. A long weekend, or at
It's a,
least for most people, not
yeah,
for
you know
those
what?
in medicine.
No, absolutely not. But you know what? It was funny because my kids are in public school, and so they had Friday off, which was for us Catholics and for a lot of people around the world, it's Good Friday.
Right.
But I didn't think that they were actually celebrating Good Friday, right? Because of the public school system. But then I found out that the reason they had the day off was because they had a snow day, or they hadn't used some snow days or off days, and so they basically utilized that Friday so they could have the day off. So the kids were off, so it was good. They do have a long weekend.
Oh, nice. See, I went to public school, and we always had Good Friday off. That's so
Really?
funny. I guess that's changed.
Well, again, they weren't celebrating Good Friday. It was just because
Right.
they had extra days that they needed to use with regards to snow days, which we didn't use. And my Natalie reminded me last night that apparently we had not used, or we had used snow days so last year, and so we didn't have Good Friday off. So
Okay.
but no, so Easter, man. So Easter, and it's actually one of those other fun times of the years. What do you? So now we have the Easter tradition, which you go to have dinner with, or lunch with family, or dinner with family. The egg hunt, the Easter bunny with all the baskets and candies. Are you getting anything for Olivia?
Yeah, she has a basket, and she doesn't really know what to do. She's at the age where it's sitting on the kitchen table right now
Uh-huh.
because she doesn't know. But I think come next year it'll be more fun. We took her to an Easter egg hunt, and she just kind of looked at us like, "What am I doing?" I'm like, go get the eggs." And so she gets them, and then she opens them, and she can't eat what's in them, or half the time
Aw.
she can't eat what's in them. So it's like, well, that was a bust. But one of our friends dressed up as the Easter bunny, and
Uh-huh.
I wish I had had a video of her face. Just,
Oh, was
she
she
didn't
scared?
cry, she didn't laugh. It was just like, what is this? What is this creature? Why are you holding me? Why does your face not move? Like, it
Right.
was
Santa
so
Claus, I get, dude. I'm over Santa Claus already. I'm not scared of
right,
the guy anymore. But
right.
you, I'm not
This,
sure that it's creepy.
yeah. But no,
Oh,
there were live bunnies there, and so she had fun getting to pet those and hold those. So
right.
yeah, it's been fun leading up to it.
Good. So what tradition? A lot of people have traditions during the Easter weekend. What were some of the traditions that you guys were exposed to when you were growing up?
Um, well, of course, my parents always did an egg hunt around the house. Even when we went home as grown adults, my mom would do it, but we would do it at night after having some drinks at dinner. And it was the funniest. It would be inside, outside, and my parents would be video. I have a brother and a sister. And so we would be tearing through that place like there was gold in these eggs. It was just more of a competition. But
Uh-huh.
always the egg hunt and the Easter baskets, and then of course church Sunday morning, and
Yep.
then my grandparents lived in Houston where I'm from, and so we would go to brunch after church with my grandparents at the country club. So that was every Easter Sunday was how I grew up. What about you?
So you know what, we in Puerto Rico, ironically, well, we were Catholic, so we started celebrating Easter weekend on Thursday.
Okay.
Because it's the Last Supper, and so we were very cognizant about the religious connotation associated to Easter, and so we went through the whole thing. Mom would have us fast, and it wasn't literally fast. She would have us. We couldn't have red
Right.
meat, so we stuck to having fish, and maybe she would force us to not to. It wasn't forcing, but we all agreed that we were not going to have like a big breakfast or anything like on Friday, Good Friday, because we wanted to be reminded of the Passion of Christ and all that stuff. So there was a lot of religious connotation with it. But then we would all binge on candy and food on Sunday. So,
Right.
I'm not sure that I understand. There's no balance here, right? But
Right.
we would do that on there was a prayer that Mom used to do with us, and she still actually. I got a text from her yesterday saying, "Don't forget to do the prayer," and yeah, and so we used to do that on Friday, and then Sunday for sure we would meet at my grandparents' house, and everybody would meet there. It would be my us, my cousins, my uncle, my aunts, and everybody would show up at my grandma and grandpa's house, and they would bake a ham, and they would have they would have just food galore. Everybody got an Easter basket full of candy and junk food and stuff, and so that was fun. I can't remember ever doing Easter egg hunting. I mean, I can't remember egg hunting in the household, but I do remember, everybody, just like any other tradition, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, that basically everybody would join together at grandma and grandpa's house. And it was fun. It was a family time. And we've extended some of that tradition now that we live in the United States.
I was going to say, what do you do with your kids now? Like, what's their Easter?
Right. So, what we do here in the community is that Sunday we reserve a pavilion over in one of the parks close by to where we live. Uh-huh. And then we do a potluck. And everybody shows up. Yeah, so everybody shows up.
What time should I be there?
Okay, 1 to 5, and I'll text you the address. And if you guys want to show up, just bring something, and you'll be welcome. So it's cool. All the families in the community show up. It's funny because what I've realized about our community is similar to what. And I don't know how much family you have in the area, but we don't have any extended family, and most of the families that are joining us for Easter Sunday have family, but they're not in Dallas or Fort Worth. So they're like in your case, they're in Houston. My family's down in Puerto Rico, or we're in Florida. So, we don't have that big congregation of people. And so we have our neighbors and our friends here in the community that basically serve as our extended family. And so we show up, and the funny thing about it is that it's just like any other big family. There's all the quirks and pathologies and the insanity that you can find of having a big family, right? Everybody has a good personality, but it's fun. It's really fun, and the kids have a good time. And so, so 1 to 5, if you want to show up, I'll text you the information, and just come on over because it'll be fun. Just make sure you bring something. Don't come empty-handed, okay?
Right.
So that's that. It's going to be exciting this week with Easter going on. We do have to run around with the kids, and I think there's a couple of basketball games that we have to do today. And I got a round, so that's another. After the show, I gotta get in the car and go around, so I gotta do that too. So. Oh, okay. But it was good, but yeah, no. So I'm looking forward to it. But one of the things that I wanted to get to is that I wanted to hear. So you were last weekend? You went to California. I got a photograph of the champagne glasses.
Yes.
The weekend. So what was going on? You went to California. How was it?
It was great. We had a wedding to go to. The wedding was actually supposed to be back in October, but it got postponed because of the wildfires. Uh-huh. So it finally happened this past weekend, and it was so much fun. It was.
Who was getting married?
One of my husband's good friends from college. He was actually in the wedding.
Okay.
And so went out there on Thursday and hit the ground running once we landed and got to Sonoma, and it's just such a beautiful part of the country. And to see, it was crazy to see where the fires had hit. Uh-huh. And what we learned is that they jumped the vineyards. So you will literally see burn lines right up to the vineyard, and then the vineyard was spared because apparently there's not much to burn there.
Oh, really?
And it was crazy. It was insane to see the fire lines.
But is there a reason for that? I mean, I can't imagine that there was more water, or maybe the firefighters are.
They just say there's not much to burn in the vineyards.
Really?
And I don't know what they meant by that, but you could literally, I wouldn't have believed it if you had told me, but really? Seeing it driving through the wine country, it was just crazy to see the char lines. You'd see the vineyard, and then you'd right up to you'd almost think there would have been a wall there. Isn't
October the time of year where they have the crush and they start harvesting everything?
Right. And that's why they had planned to have the wedding then, was right in the middle of harvest when the vines are full and everything's, and they waited up until literally 5 days before. And then they said it's a no-go because one of their venues had been damaged and it was just too much to chance. So I was so happy for the bride and groom that they were actually able to make it happen this past weekend. And they did a fantastic job. It was stunning.
I would have actually, if I were the guy, I would have taken that as a sign and probably ran. This is a sign. Maybe I should get married. You know?
But
or maybe the groom, either one of them. I would have actually said, maybe this is not the right idea.
They've been dating for so long that I think both of them were like, yeah, we're still doing this. So no, it was fantastic. I mean,
where'd you stay at?
We stayed at the El Dorado Inn, which is right in the middle of the Sonoma Square. So it was walkable to everything.
Okay.
We did Uber places to some of the other vineyards, but it's cutest town square.
Yeah.
All the different restaurants and venues around it were perfect. And the weather, it was supposed to rain the whole time, and it was perfect weather. I mean, it was chilly, but other than that, it was absolutely amazing. It was hard to leave, I'll tell you that.
So you know, so the listeners don't know this, and I hope that if you have the opportunity of commenting and leaving comments and asking questions, one of the things that you may don't know about Ashley is that Ashley, now you were jet setting time out in California for a while, didn't you?
Yes.
I mean, you were because, and the reason I'm saying that is that I think about a year ago, I had reached out to Ashley and asked her about places in California because I knew she frequented San Francisco.
I forgot. I sent you all that information.
Let me tell you something. If you want a what to do in San Francisco, please just leave us your email on the comment section underneath the show, because Ashley knows what to do in San. I mean, I'm telling you, the amount of stuff that she has collected and written down about San Francisco is ridiculous. And I don't know how much of the wine country you also know of. I'm assuming that you went there, but let me tell you,
I've been there about a dozen times.
I've got to tell you, the best tour guides, and it's cheap. Just ask her; she'll email it to you. Trust me, and it's really good. From driving the electric bikes, which, by the way, I when I was in San Francisco that time, I couldn't find the place where they had the electric bikes. They're the regular bikes that you did.
Okay.
That you rented. But from going and having lunch at this place, walking around this other place, Chinatown, I mean, she's got it down in a document that probably you could sell. I mean, it's great.
Well, it's one of my favorite cities, so it's just.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Awesome.
I'm telling you, with the detail that you sent me that time, I got to tell you, you could go to San Francisco for a whole week and know what to do day by day because of Ash's actually a little summary of what to do and what, where to go when you're in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's fun. So yeah.
I was in wine country. Oh boy, about a year. It must have been about 2 years after we moved to Dallas, and Natalie and I took a weekend and decided to go to Napa, and we stayed at the Yountville.
Yes.
The
Yountville Inn.
Yeah, the Yountville Inn. Beautiful hotel right down off of St. Helena. Is it?
Yeah.
And so let me tell you, if you guys want to stay in a really nice hotel and they really take good care of you, that's
a great one.
It's a beautiful area, and it's right there in Napa, and you just basically take that strip, that road that takes you all the way into St. Helena, right? That's where the little shops and towns are at. But a couple of things were actually obvious. The first one is we went there in November. Okay. So it was the tail end of the crush, I think.
Uh-huh.
I had never, ever experienced the scent that I experienced when I was there because of the crush.
Yeah.
It was a completely different experience. And it wouldn't go away. I mean, it was constant. It was anywhere you went to, you smelled the crush.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you listening, it's pretty much it's what it is. They basically crushing the grapes, and it produces this aroma, and the toasting also, because they toast a couple, they also toast the grapes and do some things with it. But it is unique, and I had never ever actually had that. So that was an experience that I totally had not had.
Is that your first time going out there?
That's the only time that I've been out there.
Oh, okay.
And so that was one interesting experience. And certainly, we did the same thing. We were responsible. We drove a little bit, but most of the time we were taking Uber or drivers, because, I didn't want to get in a situation of, driving and drinking.
No.
And trust me, you start the day at 10 a.m. with a glass of champagne or wine, which is, and so I will tell you that, that we went to several places. We went to, we had dinner at this steakhouse called The Press.
Uh-huh.
Then we did Mustard Seed, which is another really good restaurant. And then we went to, there was a place called, I think it was called Farmer's Market or Farmer's Place, which also it's an open restaurant. And these restaurants for the most part are farm to table, right? Yes. So they're basically, they grow their own things and they put it on the table.
And most of the menus change weekly. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. And so one noon, I remember I was over in, when we were just finishing the tour. And let me tell you, there is so many wineries. And you always go to you go to the classic ones. You go to the Mondavi place. You got to go to Mondavi, right? Just to see the Mondavi house and the history of the wine country. We went to Charles Krug. There is Stag's Leaps. I mean, there are these big wineries that everybody knows. But the cool thing about the place is going to the really hidden jewels, right?
Yes.
And there's I don't know which was your favorite one, or which one. You probably have a list of those, knowing you, favorite ones. But my favorite one was a winery called Merus, Merus.
Okay.
They have a fantastic, set of wines, from Cabernets to blends to, I'm telling you, it was just fantastic, that experience. And again, it's one of these wineries that's off the beaten path, and people locally know it, and it sells, small cases, puts out small cases of wine, but the quality is fantastic, and it's not available commercially. You can't buy it, like you can't go to the supermarket. You basically have to order. I'm on their wine list. In fact, they called me last week to offer me the 2018 or whatever year they have now coming out of wine. But those are my favorite ones. But what I was going with the whole story is that you spend, I don't know how you did it, but for those of you who go there for a first time, you're basically drinking from sun up to sundown. Yes. And it's brutal. I mean, you say, well,
in a good way.
Well, let me tell you. So at noon, after, this is probably our second day there. And, the first day you just binge, you just go crazy, and you go drinking and every, sipping every, tasting in every little place and that. And it's, it's beautiful country. So there's a couple of the wineries are up in mountains, and they've actually made some beautiful landscape around these places. And so it's just great. But at noon, everybody rushes to the restaurants because,
you need to eat.
Yeah, now you got to sort of soak up all that alcohol. And so we went, I remember going to the farmer's market, whatever it was. And on the list, there was a lamb burger with an egg on it and a arugula. And it was just, damn, right now my mouth is watering just thinking about it.
I know. Not only is it some of the best wine, it's some of the best food.
Yeah. And so we sat down, and I said, I think my wife said, you know what, we're just going to take a break right now. We need a breather. And the waiter says to me, yeah, we hear that a lot. So we had a great time. We were there. We did there's the hot air balloons, really early in the morning so you can see the sunrise.
Did y'all do that?
Oh yeah. Have you done that?
I'd love to, but my husband won't. He doesn't like heights.
He doesn't like snakes and he doesn't like heights? What's wrong with this guy? What does he do for a living? I mean, well,
but I bet it was gorgeous.
Oh, it's awesome. We took some great photographs of it. And then, you go over all these vineyards. It's kind of scary how they control this thing. I mean, some of it is actually based on wind patterns, and they have to make sure that the wind is blowing in a particular direction, because if not, you probably end up in Japan, if
right.
But oh yeah, but it's so serene. It's so quiet. Although you hear the damn, the exhaust from the gas just to keep the balloon going. But it's actually a beautiful experience. If you have a chance, and if your husband doesn't want to do it, take somebody who wants to do it, because it is a unique experience. And then you land and they greet you with champagne. I mean,
of course
you have a champagne breakfast to follow that. But that's we had not gone back, but Natalie wants to certainly go back, and so I'm definitely. What's your favorite winery? Do you have a favorite winery?
Oh gosh,
wineries when you go over there.
There are a couple. They're the one. Did you have an opportunity to do any of the ones with the caves, where you go down in the caves and they have everything in the barrels and they siphon it out of the barrel for you to taste?
Yes, I did that. We did that, and actually, Maris had that whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, so Del Dotto, I love. They make some really, really good wines that you can't buy commercially. And then, oh gosh, Frank Family. It's a very small vineyard. Like you walk in, or a very small family-owned one that makes some of the best reds I think I've ever tasted.
Really?
Yes. And then this time when we went, we tried one called Scribe, and it was, not only was it gorgeous, but the whole ambiance of the tasting in the room, they had it set up for us. So they were bringing out food, which normally these places don't have a lot of food for you to eat. So they had some amazing food that we were eating while we were tasting, different from rosé to an unoaked Chardonnay down to Pinots, and which just incredible. So yeah, I mean, you could go for a week and not even touch half the wineries there.
Absolutely.
So many.
I don't think that a week actually you can. I mean, first of all, I can't
kill your liver in a week.
I can't drink that for that long. I mean, honestly, after a little bit, and one of the things that I didn't do when I was there is work out. And I should have actually taken the time to sort of get out there and run or jog. But you know what? It's hard not to go to these vineyards and sit down and wineries and sit down and have a glass of wine, because that's all you do there. I mean, there's not like, and I don't know, you're a jogger. I don't know if you would go exercising every day. I mean, I bet that running through wine country, it's got to be beautiful too, or taking a bike, right?
Yes, it is.
And that's one of the things. We went to Sonoma the last day that we were in Napa Valley, Sonoma County. And what was pretty cool about it was, again, the little towns and everything. We actually got 2 pieces of art. There's a lot of art galleries out in Sonoma too. Yes. And so we got 2 pieces of art that are basically in the entrance of our house. And it was, they're Sonoma pieces. We love them. But what was also funny about that is that we went to a restaurant to have lunch, and I think it was a Sunday when we were about to leave. So we had lunch in Sonoma, and everybody was ordering, oh my God, I'm blanking out on the name, Bloody Marys. Okay. Yeah. And I'm like, what's this all about? It's like, yeah, it's the most common drink we serve. That's
so funny,
because everybody's trying to kill the hair of the dog, right? Because they drank wine all day, and now they actually have to have a Bloody Mary. So they were putting Bloody Marys out like they were actually glasses of water on the table. But Sonoma and White, and Napa are just so beautiful. And yeah, we'll have to sort of make a special trip out there. You see, the problem is I go to California, I want to go surfing, right? And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the beach, and so maybe I should just temper that enthusiasm of going surfing and go somewhere to at least go to wine country again and hang out with.
It's so fun.
So a couple of cool things happened, after we got back. I was actually in Minnesota, and I want to give a shout out to the Southlake Dragons, the hockey team that made it to the Nationals. We were while you were enjoying the nice weather and beautiful weather in California, I was stuck in Minnesota, which is cool. Okay, which is cool. But we were there because the high school team made it to the Nationals.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and so they lost in quarterfinals against the team, and this is actually the common statement, right? We lost against a team that ended up winning it all.
Okay.
How many times have you heard that? And I mean it. These guys won. Saint Margarita from California. Congratulations to you guys. A shout out to the crew out there in California. They won the whole chicken caboodle, and so they basically are the national hockey champions for the high schools this year, and it's actually it's from USA Hockey, and all the amateur hockey associations were part of it, so it's sponsored by them. It's a big deal. And so the Southlake Carroll Dragons made it 6. They lost in quarterfinals against Saint Margarita, but you know what? The boys played with so much heart. They were amazing, and I have to say, be the proud father. Okay, we were losing 4-0, third period, 4 minutes left, and my boy goes on a breakaway, unassisted, and scores the only goal of that game. Okay?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So the sad thing was that I had my video camera going, and I was about to put everything away. I turned it off when he goes on the breakaway, and then,
of course,
right? And so I couldn't get it on video, but somebody had a camera, and so they basically took a photograph of him celebrating and all that stuff. But it was a great weekend. We got back. We did have a chance of doing something actually unique, and it's not on the list of things that we're going to talk about, but I did have a chance of visiting Prince's Paisley Park. Have you heard of this?
I haven't.
Okay, so Prince is originally from Minnesota. Or was originally from Minnesota.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and he actually has his home in Minnesota, and after he died, and he died of a drug overdose in Paisley Park. Paisley Park was his vision of what a home for a recording studio artist, rock star like him, would want to have. And this thing is gargantuous. I mean, it is huge. And so now you can actually visit it and pay for a fee. But it's actually kind of weird because, well, the first thing that happens is that you walk in and they ask you to give up your cell phones or any electronics that you could take or record film with. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and they give you these little pouches, okay, that you put your cell phone in. You have to turn it off, put the cell phone in. And then they magnetically close the pouch and give the pouch back to you. So there's no way that you can open this thing. So that's the first thing. Yeah. And so they have it very controlled. But it is an amazing place. And what as you go through his history of how he became Prince and the rock star and legend and superstar that he is, you kind of start getting an appreciation of his genius. And,
yes.
And, you do look at Prince and some of these artists as being eccentric and weird. But when you see what he was all about, you saw his drive to become excellent, to be a world leader in what he did, an ambassador of rights for the artist. That was a major deal about his life, in which, remember when he changed his name from Prince to that symbol?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that era?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the reason he did that was because he wanted to separate himself and his product and his brand and whatever else he put out there from Warner Brother, who owned the license to his name.
Okay. So
by changing his name, he could still meet his obligations that he had on the contract for Warner Brothers, but then he wouldn't be limited to the ability of doing everything else that he wanted to do, that in his creative mind he couldn't do because he was part of Warner Brothers. So during that era, what he did is he created movies. He joined other artists in helping them record. His house is basically a huge recording studio, and also he's got a concert hall. I mean, he would hold concerts there in the house. It was amazing.
I didn't know any of this.
Oh, my God. If you have the chance of going to Minnesota, everybody decides that they want to go to the Mall of America. just, because it's the Mall of America and you got the
Right.
indoor, what do you call it?
Roller coasters
Roller coasters and all that.
Park.
Yeah, amusement park. It's amazing. But take the time to go to Paisley Park, because and particularly people of my generation that grew up listening to Prince, and the MTV era and all that stuff. It is a great experience. So we were up there in Minnesota, and we had a fantastic time there. If anybody from Minnesota is listening, thank you. They're really nice people, and we had a blast with the boys. But you have to go to Paisley Park because it was an amazing experience. It was definitely it was worth going. I hear the producers in the background. Do you hear that one?
She's about to go to breakfast.
That's awesome. So, all right. So we got a few more minutes before we have to wrap up the show. But I had a couple of stories that I wanted to talk to you about. I think that I'm gonna hold some of these because I think that they're from most of the community that they're interesting. But I wanted to give you another announcement that happened this week. So this week there was a lot of getting back to the swing of things. So I was in clinic and seeing patients, all this stuff. But what happened was that it was announced that we're going to start doing LVADs and down the line heart transplants in Fort Worth.
Oh, that's exciting.
Right?
That's really exciting.
So it was announced this week at a town hall meeting at one of the hospitals that is there in Fort Worth. And again, the public will soon find out which one it is. Those of us involved in the decision making know which hospital it is. But yeah, we're gonna do our first. Hopefully, this year we'll do our first LVAD.
That's really exciting.
Yeah. So
because it's the only hospital in Fort Worth that'll have it, right?
Well, right now, the city of Fort Worth has never had an LVAD program.
Okay, I didn't think so. I mean, I went to school in Fort Worth, so I was going to say, I'm pretty sure this will be the first program.
Right. And so it ties into the first of many. And I'm hoping that for our other show, Talking Points, we can get Stuart Flynn, who's the incoming and founding president for the new medical school, the TCU Medical School. But in addition to that, to the VAD, we're also opening a new medical school. So there's a lot of really cool things first.
Yeah, I'm a TCU alum, so I think that's so awesome that they're doing the medical school there.
Right, so that's happening too. But this week we announced patients that we announced that we were going to go after LVADs, and then I really do think that shortly thereafter we're probably going to go after transplants too, which would be awesome for the community because Fort Worth is such a great place to work and to live at. I mean, people are so nice there too. And
yes.
But it opens up a huge opportunity for patients that suffer from heart failure of going in there. And we're going to need a lot of support and in the community also from the hospital to make sure that we can get this off the ground successfully.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, so it'll be really cool. I think that we're projecting that maybe by the end of the year, the first LVAD would be implanted. And so, I think that with all the excitement that's going on in Fort Worth, it's just the right time to do that. So I'll tell you that industry is going to be critical in this too. So I know that we post the show also in LinkedIn, where a lot of the industry folks are listening. So, FYI, this is actually coming down the pipes. It's real. It will happen in the next coming year. And there's more really good, cool things that are happening within the program. But a lot of really cool things have happened in Fort Worth since we started basically the mitral valve program over there. And so I'm really excited about this particular project.
I love Fort Worth. I
got to tell you, it's one of those hidden jewels.
Yes.
And it's just mellow. It's cool. People have a totally different attitude from the rest of the state. And you know what? There's a lot of hidden cool places there. I mean, Sundance Square is not that hidden, but it is a great place to go to and hang out and have a meal and walk around to the little stores and shops that are going around. And
It's
so,
changed so much too. I mean, it's evolved so much since I lived there 15 years ago. It's great. And my sister and brother still live there. So we go back over there all the time. But yeah, it's just, it really is a fun city.
Well, and I don't know how much you're actually have gone up to the area of the hospital. In fact, would you consider coming out of retirement to help me out over there with the transplant and VAD program?
Possibly.
There you go. I may have Ash.
I never say no.
Hey, listen, it's my time, baby. Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can take Olivia. Soon Olivia will be going to school, right? I mean,
right.
And so
she got accepted to school, so that's one thing off my list. Yes. I never thought I'd be saying that at the age of 2, but she got accepted. So
what are you going to do with your time off other than recording shows with me?
I don't know. Figure out something.
How about coming and working with me over in Fort Worth?
We can talk.
We will have to sort of talk, baby.
Yes.
I got a couple of people be interested in talking to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's hey, any administration, anybody who's listening right now, you heard it right now. Talking. Hey, that's the first step in actually getting this off the ground.
Right.
Listen, it's cool. It's going to be really fun and be part of. I think that here's my pitch: being part of something new, and creating something like we just are doing right now with the show from the ground up. It's what gets my juices going every day.
Yes.
And so I'm giving you the opportunity of being part of the first of something, which is, you can't say that every time, right? This is going to be historical. We have never done LVADs or heart transplantations in Fort Worth. It'll be the first of a great opportunity that's going to happen for the city.
It's exciting.
It's very exciting. Well, listen, I think that's all the time we've got right now. We wanted to cover so many things, and my stream of consciousness was going crazy because I wanted to touch on a lot of things. And it's almost, for those of you listening, my brain goes almost like a spider web. I can go in every direction and spin in every direction as I'm looking through the topics and we're talking. I mean, we talked about alcohol. We wanted to talk about, coffee, because now some judge in California is talking about putting a cancer label on it. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things, from auto driving cars to one of your least favorite topics is probably eating Halo ice cream, which we're going to touch on because I want to get your perspective, because I can't believe you don't like Halo ice cream.
And I like everything sweet, typically.
But, I think that's all the time we've got, gang. And Ash, thanks again for joining in.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, just keep on listening. Every Wednesday, we'll be posting the Genuine Talk Show. It's a podcast. You can download it on your cell phone. You can find us on YouTube, on the Twitter page, it's on the AskDrGonzo Anything Twitter page. It's on YouTube on the AskDrGonzo Anything channel. And so there's going to be a lot of fun content, and we do this every week. We also upload it onto LinkedIn, which you can basically connect from the link in LinkedIn, go to the channel, the YouTube channel, and right there you can listen to us. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off. This is Gonzo Gonzalez signing off for Genuine. Ash, we'll talk next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
We're going to be having you work with us in Fort Worth.
Have a good one, everyone.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.